The presenting sponsor of Upmarket is Fatello, the best AI editing platform. Snap, upload, and deliver at fatello.co.
Coming to you from the Spice Factory in beautiful Hammertown, Ontario, Canada, this is Upmarket, a podcast about the business of real estate photography and media. My name is Reed Fish. I'm the CEO and a co-founder of Upmarket Media. And Mark Corcoran, our other co-founder, co-host, back in the States, holding it down. We did bring Molly Peart, our producer, here. She's off camera, off mic today, but she's been getting her Canadian on. It's been really great. And then since we're in Canada, it's kind of thanks to iGuide. We kind of came up to visit iGuide, and we have Natasha Robertson here from iGuide. We just, we're recording this at the Northern Spruce Summit. This is Alex Coombs' summit that she put on. But before that, we were hanging out up at iGuide HQ for a couple days.
Yep.
It was pretty fun.
Yep. Tour guide Tash, taking you guys all around Kitchener-Waterloo.
Yeah, it was very interesting. It's very beautiful up there. I thought it was very, not quaint, like a very vibrant, lovely town.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and the iGuide offices were fun. What stuck out to me is iGuide is so much bigger than I thought it was. I mean, the team is big. You walked in there to the office, and literally there was an employee there you didn't even know.
Yeah, well, since COVID, the remote world, but there's about probably 120 employees now,
Wow.
and we have, I think, 30 open positions right now too. So.
Wow. Oh, so if you want to relocate to Waterloo,
yeah,
get on there, get on Indeed. I think there's iGuide is hiring. But Natasha, I wanted to say thank you for everything. Thank you for this whole week. It has been honestly remarkable, so much fun. But also you came in for a very special reason.
Yep.
Because this is a Road to PMRE episode. Even though we're at the Northern Spruce Summit, this is actually a Road to PMRE episode. And of course, iGuide is once again doing the Tour de PMRE.
Yes, we are, but back and better than ever.
Yes.
Bigger than ever.
That's
We're
right.
sending 3 winners this time, all expenses paid to Vegas. So your flights, your transportation, your hotel, your PMRE conference pass, everything, all on iGuide.
Wow, it's fantastic. So the way you enter is it's very simple. You go to goiguide.com/PMRE, and then you're going to go on Instagram. You're going to find go_iGuide. You're going to find Upmarket Pod. Follow both of those accounts. You do those 3 things, you're entered to win. There's going to be 3 different drawings. The first one is on June 16th. June 16th. So make sure for the most chances to win, get in before that. And I think PMRE, and go to PMREconference.com for all the information on the conference. I believe I don't have it in front of me. I think it's November 18th through 20th, something like that in Las Vegas. All the information. I know early birds go on sale. May 19th is going to be the sale date for that. So make sure you get in there for that. Natasha, thank you once again. It's been so fantastic. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Las Vegas.
Oh, me too.
All right.
Awesome.
It's good. Well, and we did find out on this trip, even more than we knew, iGuide loves to party.
Yes,
Yeah.
we did. We're feeling it. We're
Yeah.
feeling it.
Yeah.
But
but they're still very professional. They get all the everything's all tight.
Exactly.
So it's good. All right, thank you. And then we're going to bring on our guest. You're going to vacate the chair, and we're going to get on with it.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you later.
Okay, Natasha has vacated the chair. Now we got Oliver Ward, a fellow Canadian here, happens to be at the Northern Spruce Summit. Also, is going to be on the main stage at PMRE this year. So I'm excited. Oliver Ward, you're out of Muskoka, that's right. Yeah. Not too far from here in Hamilton.
About 3 hours north, yeah.
Yeah, not bad. Well, so you were talking to me the other day, and a little backstory. Oliver met you at PMRE last year. You actually came on and did the show back then, and then now you're going to be at PMRE this year speaking. But we also were in Cancun at the PMRE retreat.
Yeah.
And along with our entire Upmarket Mastermind crew, which is me, Kelly Clark, Alex Coombs, and Jen Lewick. And so this last week, we had, I wouldn't say it went viral, but I've heard feedback from many people here, actually, about a clip that we had for that show where Jen Lewick is saying how one of her biggest takeaways from the PMRE retreat was how everyone there hated real estate photography, of how they had lost their passion for it.
Yeah.
And you commented to me about that clip as well. And so what was your experience of that, and what do you think about that?
So in Mexico, I was chatting with Jen, and we did a lot of pool parties, and she was like, Yeah, actually, she mentioned it then. She was like, I resonate with you because she's like, you're one of the only people that seems like they still like it.
Right.
And I recognized Jen and I are a little bit smaller, more boutique because we were amongst, I call them killers. Like there's like big, high volume
except
killers.
for Mark and I, but yeah.
And they, you know, and people were sharing the revenues and workflows, and like no one was interested in shooting. And I think Jen was coming there to like learn more about technique and about shooting. Like, hey, what do we love about this? And so we shared that privately. But then when I saw her say it on the podcast, it was also like kind of a vulnerability to, I think, the way she delivered it that really caught me. That caught my attention.
Yeah.
And what did I do agree with her. I think there is how do I reverse engineer this? I think if you're not doing what you love, then there's an expiration date on your joy, on your soul, on whatever it is.
Absolutely.
And Jen seems very passion driven, and so am I. So I agree with her. Like if you're in this and you don't love the shooting anymore, maybe you love the revenue and that's what your passion is.
Yeah. Revenue is my passion. Yeah.
Everyone here at the Northern Spruce Summit, they're all photographers. They get into this business.
Yeah.
They like photography, and then they become entrepreneurs and business people, and then the shooting becomes the least interesting part. I don't have an answer for that, but I do think it's
Well, and I was struck here. There was a moment in one of the presentations where someone asked, who considers themselves a creative here?
Yeah.
And of the 90 people, I want to say 5 people raised their hand.
Yeah.
It was very, very, I was shocked actually. And then he said, who here is an entrepreneur? And almost everyone, including me, raised their hands. And that actually was a moment where I was like, wait a sec, do I not even consider myself a creative anymore?
Because you're very creative.
Apparently, well, I guess I do the podcast.
Or you, at least that was your background, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've done a lot of creative stuff. And I think that's most people who are in this come out of the creative world. And you use your creative skills as you are building the business. And, because you got to go out and take the photos. Yeah. And especially 5, 10, 15 years ago, you had to be more creative with it. Now it's much more systematized and, kind of almost anyone can do it with the tools that are out there. So I think what happens a lot, and I think it's been my experience, and I think even, I don't want to speak for Mark, but he's at a similar place with it at this point. It's like, I love photography and I think I still do, but man, it's just the grind of it and the business of it just crushed that love out of me.
Yeah. Well, and what I see in most businesses is it's very hard to grow with more photography yourself.
Yeah.
And so then you have to step back, and then you realize, you go to conferences, you hear all these other people speak, and you're like, oh, I got to be a business person.
Right.
And then the only way to grow is that, and then you're hiring people to do the thing that you love.
Right.
And when Jen mentioned that in Mexico, I think it was Matt, he was like, well,
Matt Gia.
Yeah, Matt Gia, just like automate all the things you don't want to do and just be the shooter. Like you can do that now. And that I thought was an interesting answer because I haven't heard that from anyone else. Like, why don't you fill all the roles around you and be the shooter? Like you can do that.
Well, and that's, privately, not that I need to be giving people advice, but that's the advice I've given Jen too, and it's the advice you give kind of anyone who wants to grow their business is like, look at 1, what you like to do, and then 2, what only you can do, right? And then only do those things. And so but for her, she's like, I like shooting. Yeah. And so and I've always said, you should still do that then, but you do have to carve out some time to run the business. Because I don't think you can actually grow a huge business and just be out in the field.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
How did that mastermind form? Because it's a diverse group of people. Like your mastermind, Jen, Alex, you, who else is in?
Kelly Clark.
Out
of Atlanta. I just asked them.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we had an idea for, we've been, we're 125 episodes in on this thing. And so you kind of feel like, not that you run out of stuff to talk about, but you run out of stuff to talk about. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, it would be interesting to have a series of having some regular guests on. So, it's checking in once a month. And I thought, well, we could all do a mastermind. We're all in different areas. So even though we always preach, community over competition, it's hard to be in a mastermind group with your direct competitor. So, we're all in different locations. And then I had just gotten to know them all a little bit, and they were all in different stages of their businesses. And so I thought that was really interesting to have, because Jen was very new in her business. Alex had grown a large team. Kelly and Brian, and she owns her business with her husband Brian, but he's not on the show. Was a similar sized business to Upmarket. And since actually we started the mastermind, they've actually far surpassed us. They've had incredible growth over the last year and a half. And I just thought that it would be, and I think, and I don't want to, I guess I speak for Jen, but I'll kind of recount something she said about it, is I think, and maybe how you also felt at that PMRE retreat. You're kind of the small fish in the room. Oh, yeah. And I think she's had, well, what do I have to offer? I mean, because she's so smart, so great, she's so wonderful, and she has a ton to offer, but you just like, I know how it is in those rooms when you feel like you're the smallest person, you're like, well, what the hell am I adding to this? Oh, and yeah. I think she's felt that a little bit, but then she always comes out with really good things to say. And then I think what also happens is we don't know how big the businesses of all our listeners are, right? I'm sure there's some that are huge and some that are just starting out. So they can relate to what Jen is going through and the decisions that she's making and what she's learning on the show. So I think that she serves a really great function, on that show.
Yeah, I'm sure she represents a lot more people than the few big businesses.
Right. Yeah. I think there's more businesses like Jen's than there are Alex's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it resonated a lot with me. I really love that she had the vulnerability to say it out loud.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the, I don't know, that's the trick to any of this is allowing yourself to be vulnerable. And that's why I think our whole show resonates with people, is we're able to be vulnerable.
Well, if you watch the clip, and I encourage people to go back and watch the clip, you have quite, it's like, you're like, whoa, that was like a real bit of honesty there. And I've seen you do that a few times. When I think it was Alex too, when she mentioned that she felt like crying. Yeah. When she launched the Northern Spruce Summit. Yeah. And those little things you lean into, and that's what I noticed in those clips, that you have an ear for like truthiness, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. Let's dig in there. Yeah. And I really like that.
Oh, I appreciate it. So Oliver, what are you vulnerable about?
A lot. And I have to be careful, because I love to talk freely. I don't have to be careful, but I often wonder, like, my wife and I do the same thing. We leave a party and we're like, holy shit. We overshared everything. Totally. Yeah. And then you have that like next morning feeling.
Yeah, of course.
And then eventually you just have to be okay with being an overshare.
Yeah, I do it too. Yeah. It's not always my greatest suit,
But just beforehand, it always feels so exciting to do it. So,
yeah. Well, what do you want to overshare right now?
Well, so I'm really, really excited that Brandon from PMRE asked me to be a speaker on stage. Okay. I immediately had the reaction that kind of Jen probably does, is like, what do I have to offer this? PMRE, to me, it seems so big. And I was there last year, like watching everyone on the big stage. And I was like, I would love to speak up there. Mm-hmm. And it was sort of just a dream. And then Brandon and I got to know each other. We've had some in-depth conversations. And he said, I think it would be really nice if you went on stage and kind of talked about your approach, because it's different than other people. And what I'd love to overshare right now is how nervous that makes me. And I will do it, and I'll fully commit. But I'm even yesterday, just nervous about like what I have to share.
Right, because you were on stage a little for just 15 minutes at Northern Spruce Summit,
And everyone already knows what I have to say, and it's not valuable. Like, you have these incredible low swing of insecurity, and then afterwards you come off stage, and I had so many people say beautiful things to me, and then you have this like big ego boost, and then you have to come back into the middle somewhere, and that happens. And I find that really interesting with high performers or anyone who does things publicly. You think that they don't feel that underneath. Yeah. You I think mentioned that you felt nervous downstairs in front of the crowd.
Well, so for context, this episode, we just did a live on stage episode here that's going to be the next episode of this show. So, but chronologically, we already recorded that, and we're doing this right after. And so it was a different experience doing the live show as opposed to just the regular in studio show, or like this in this makeshift studio. Because in our show, we don't like to edit it too much, but guess what? We edit it. And there's moments where I'm like, okay, what the hell am I going to say next? And then I can sit and think about it for a minute or two. And then, or you feel like you can mess up and it doesn't matter. But when you're live on stage, I mean, we can edit the feed that we got, but you're actually in front of 90 people, and it's just a real different deal. And so all of a sudden, I was sitting there I actually felt nervous, and I really don't feel nervous when we do these shows now at this point, except I did feel nervous up there, and it also felt like I wasn't prepared enough. And you probably have noticed, if you're a listener to this show, that I'm not always the most prepared. Sometimes it seems like it is, but a lot of times we're coming up with what we're going to talk about the same day or kind of right before we record. But not always. We also plan it out as well. But this one, I felt way underprepared, even though I almost never do. I had notes that I brought up there with me, so I had these topics that I wanted to hit. But it felt like we were getting through those too fast. And I was like, oh shit, what am I going to talk about in the last half? And we were able to eke it out, but I was really getting stressed up there because I was like, there's only so many, jokes I can tell.
Yeah. And it's hard to think when 90 people are watching you.
Yeah. And you feel like their eyes are on you, and you're the one who has to come up with the next thing to say. And sometimes you're just like, we had a panel of 3 people, and I was like feeding it and just saying something. I was hoping someone else was going to chime in. So I was like, because I need some time to think about the next topic.
Well, and to what I was saying, like, to me, watching, you absolutely crushed it. And it's so funny that you don't see that underneath.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it just didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll have to, maybe I'll watch it once it's out. I don't know. We'll see. So Oliver, you're speaking at PMRE. What exactly are you going to be talking about? We don't give away your whole speech. And I know we're 5 months away or 6 months away, so you're not going to be, you don't probably have it all written.
No, started in Mexico. Same thing, I'm tying it back to Jen. I was sitting around a lot of people that had much bigger businesses than me. Mm-hmm. And at first I felt like I had nothing to say, but then a few times I chimed in and I noticed people listening. And the interesting thing I think that I was sharing was that I had a business here in Canada and I really wanted to live this Costa Rica surfer bum lifestyle. Right. And I've been engineering how to do that for quite a few years, and I've accomplished it now. We've officially have an entity, like a business in Costa Rica. We have a few brokerages that we're serving. I'm using all the same pipelines in North America that I am now in Costa Rica. It's a different market, but everything works the same. And there was a lot of people asking me how I was doing that. And there seemed to be a lot of value in what I had to say. And it was sort of like no one had met someone who had done something like that before.
Right, yeah.
And then they're like, well, why are you doing that? And the reason I'm doing that is, quite honestly, my wife and I grew up in the 90s. I think we both bought like surf and skate magazines. We were in landlocked Canada, but we both always had this feeling like, I think we're surfers, which is such a weird, but like we're not surfers. And now as parents in our late 30s and 40s, we really want that to be our lifestyle.
Right.
I have a real estate media business. I want to live in Costa Rica. And so I'm like leading my life through lifestyle and making the business fit the lifestyle I want to live because I want to live it now. This is my vulnerable share.
Right.
Both my parents died way too young. I have 2 young girls, and I just think like I could be like some of the entrepreneurs that I'm meeting who are just 18, 24 hours, never sleeping, all business, and kids grow so fast. And then your time ends before you know it. So I just want to live my life now. And I think when you think about, like when I see some of these revenue numbers, I'm like, how come these guys aren't living more of a beautiful life?
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm developing that idea and how I want to share it. But that's what I want to talk about.
Well, how and I think when you were on last time, I think we covered a lot of the kind of logistics maybe of that having a bit. And I think that was the point of the show was like you have a business in Canada and in Costa Rica, but I mean, how is there a trick to engineering that for yourself to have these 2 businesses? I assume they're going concurrently, right? You have operations in Canada, you have operations in Costa Rica, and and I think I've seen from your Instagram you're still out shooting sometimes. It seems like. So, I mean, how do you manage that?
It's not that difficult. It's like
all right. I just have a multinational business. It's a piece of cake.
'Cause they're both boutique businesses. So I have one shooter here in Canada. Our volume, it does get busy enough that sometimes I have to be out shooting as well. Also, I think a lot of people who have lightly expanded their business, you realize the moment you stop being a solo shooter, your income will actually go down a little bit, even though you're building up the business, and you kind of have to get to 3 shooters in order to make what you used to make. So I'm in the hybrid stage of I'm mostly letting my shooters do the work, but then I'm augmenting by shooting a bit myself so I can have that same income. So both of my businesses are almost identical. They use the same post-production and they use the same intake pre-production. And then as a coach and for a couple of years, I really developed all the SOPs of the business. So we all shoot and work the exact same way.
Right.
So for me, the challenge in actually I had 2 challenges. In Canada, I was trying to find a really reliable shooter, and I went through about 4, and I finally found one. And he's awesome. And then in Costa Rica, it was the same thing, just finding the right fit, and then having him shadow me for a couple months, and so he shadowed me, and then I shadowed him, and then now that they're set up, both of those guys, they just want to shoot. And so my job now is to fill the pipeline.
Right.
But they could be in neighboring towns. It just happens to be that one's 5,000 miles away.
Right.
So management-wise, I think anyone who has 2 territories, or if you even expanded to your next county, at that point, it doesn't matter if it's in China.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
You just have to account for time zone stuff, but it's like
Well, in
on
Costa
the
Rica
admin
is
side.
the same.
Well, and then are you having separate admin?
No, it's all the same.
So it's just one phone line?
Yeah. So in Canada,
it's my cell phone.
It's my cell phone, which is going to change very soon. Everything in Costa Rica works on WhatsApp. So I get everyone on WhatsApp, and then I can integrate the WhatsApp with whatever API I want. So it's great because I don't know if this is the same for you, but agents, even though we have these beautiful order forms, they just want to text you the information.
Yeah.
And
5 years later, we still get texts on our personal lines after we've had the business. And 5 years later, it's still happening. But yeah.
But I think it's and I do want to. I'm gonna deep dive further into showing how that's possible. But it's the exact same thing as opening a new territory. You're just in a different country. There are legal things you need to be aware of depending on the country. But my premise is to everyone who has a successful business in the States or Canada, there is a lot of beautiful markets in the world that are underserved, that have a lot of expat investors, big houses that millionaires are trading, and they have little Sotheby's or Engel Volkers there. And these agents don't have a real good provider. They're usually taking a surf photographer or a wedding photographer, and there's no consistency.
Right.
And so to break into those markets using what we know here, and so just where do you want to be? Where would you like to drop a boutique agency? I think based on what I'm experiencing, maybe I'm lucky, but that is kind of the idea I want to bring to the community is hey, you know what? It might be hard to expand in the next county because there's going to be 100 Eli Jones photographers doing, but why don't you try expanding in Costa Rica? Why don't you try expanding in Belize? That could be possible.
Okay, now logistically with that, I don't remember if I asked you this before, but are you setting up, literal different businesses? Do you have to have your own business entity in Costa Rica and it's is all your accounting separate or is it all under the umbrella of one company?
No, so I talked to an accountant in Costa Rica. I talked to my Canadian accountant. I wanted to be compliant, but I also wanted to be creative. And the advice was
oh, I know what you mean by creative.
No, yeah. And the advice was, so there's a long road to naturalization in Costa Rica, but if you have a business entity, that can earn money. I can't pull an income from it.
Okay.
I can't pull an income from it, but all the business expenses, which are my life expenses, can be pulled from the corporation in Costa Rica. And so I just follow Costa Rican tax law. The corporation pays for everything. When I'm down there, it has to cover my living expenses in order for me to run it.
Yeah, right.
And those two things stay separate. Canada has its own accountant. Costa Rica has its own accountant. And I don't pull money. They don't cross.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, interesting. Okay. So, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do our social media sidebar, and then we're going to come back. And then we're going to, we're going to talk about something. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And then we're, of course, going to end with action items.
Cool.
All right. So, be right back. Hey, man, this business, it seems, can be all about speed. Our realtors want stuff fast. We want to get stuff done fast. And what I don't like, though, is when in the pursuit of speed, we compromise quality. And with Fotello, we don't have to do that. Fotello has increased the speed of our post-production workflow immeasurably, but yet we have not sacrificed quality. Our photos are looking as good as ever with Fotello. The AI editing source that Upmarket has been using since last summer. It's been fantastic. It has helped transform our business. So if you want to check it out, go to fotello.co and you can see what their Photon 6.1 is all about on how well it does with your photos, with your HDR photos, how well it does with virtual twilights, virtual staging, all sorts of stuff that is fantastic and all the kind of offerings that all of your clients are expecting it in this day and age. So we really heartily endorse Fotello. Go to fotello.co. You can use the code 50UP to get 50% off your first month of service. Also included in what you're paying for editing is you can deliver, there's booking, there's so many tools to help run your business also in Fotello, but really the AI editing is to me what stands out and what sets them apart in the marketplace. Fotello.co. Use the code 50UP. It was a pretty sad day for me the other day because I actually had to go out and do some work out in the field. I had to do this little project in Ojai. No one else was going to be in Ojai. And I'm like, fine, I'll go do it. So I went and I had to do floor plan. And it was this big property with a bunch of houses on it, guest houses and a gym. And so, there was this one. It was a gym. It was about 400 square feet, no walls, just some windows. About the most boring floor plan you could ever do in your life. But I just got a little joy when I open up that second floor app. The second floor app makes doing floor plans a breeze and makes them fun every single time. I love second floor app. You know that by now. So second floor app, you can do fast, accurate floor plans just using your phone. What an amazing technology. And then you can deliver those floor plans instantly. This is such a great technology. Second Floor App. So go to secondfloorapp.com/upmarket. You're going to get a free month of service. So you can do floor plans of as many tiny, small gyms as your heart can muster in 1 month. I mean, who doesn't want to do that? secondfloorapp.com/upmarket. Okay, social media sidebar. We're Upmarket Pod across all socials. And of course, you can follow us on Instagram, Upmarket Pod. What I meant to say is that you can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and of course on YouTube as well. And Oliver, where are we finding you?
It's all on Instagram right now, hollywoodmedia.coach.
Yeah.
And then this year I'm starting the YouTube channel because I think I would better serve people that listen to me in longer format because I do a lot of education.
Right, we
stuff.
talk a lot too.
We talk a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go long format and then start clip farming. I think that might be better for me.
Okay. Well, because I've noticed what you are doing is you are really doing a lot of like intense vlogging, and really about seemingly mundane things.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the first time I met you when you came up to the recording suite at the Palms in Vegas, is I saw like the next day you're like, hey, I did the Upmarket podcast, and it's literally shots of your feet walking across the casino floor. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is a lot of detail here.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm not used to, I don't think I follow anyone who's really vlogging like that. So how are you getting, like, is there a lot of traction with with that type of content still?
Yes, I would be considered, I think, if businesses looked at me as a nano influencer, there's like maybe 4,500 followers.
Right.
It's extremely niche, and I'm just showing the life of a real estate media provider and giving my opinions and my feedback on things. I did that for a couple of years, and I would often be like, why am I doing this? I have no idea why I'm doing this. I was almost like, like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just felt compelled to do it. And then I started, companies would reach out to me and give me these little deals. And I was always like, well, look, I'm only gonna do me, but I will do little collaborations. And then that just kept on growing. And then what I noticed is that the real estate agents in my region, they view me as an authority in the subject.
Right.
And so on the marketing side, it warms everyone up to any phone call that I make. So that part was good for the business. And then on the personal side, it's a weird hobby, but I just really enjoy doing it. I like smashing quick edits together and throwing them out there. I get some sort of feedback loop from it.
Right.
And so that's why I do it. And I will say it's been incredible for the opportunities I've gotten, and it's been incredible for my business. It's made things really easy on the sales and business side.
How much time a day are you spending on that? Because to me, what it feels like is like, oh shit, that's a lot of filming you're doing, and then you got to edit it, and it's like, that seems like a full-time job in and of itself.
No, I'm real fast.
Yeah.
And I just take tiny clips. Like, there's almost no fat on my clips. There's like, whatever I shoot is generally what makes it into the edit. Maybe I take a second off the front and the top, or the front and the back. It's actually the same way I shoot real estate videos. There's no fat on my real estate. Like, I take the shot and that's it. And I put them all, and so I do the same thing with my vlogs. There's no fat on them. and then I just throw them now I throw it right into the native app. Everything's lined up chronologically, and there's not a lot of editing. So I can, I call them toilet bowl edits.
Right. Well, that's a great visual there. Great visual. Don't drop the phone.
Don't drop the phone. Yeah.
But like your literal shitty videos look really good. So I gotta say.
Well, and it took me a while to make good shitty videos. It took me a while, and I did coach a lot in the past. I don't as much anymore.
Right. Well, I want to talk about that. Let's talk about that in the second half of the show. Yeah.
But I do have people ask me like, hey, I want to start doing that. How do I do that? And I'm like, it's just going to be uncomfortable, and you have to do a lot of it because it takes a lot of work to be that shitty. It does. And so there's no easy way to do it.
Right.
You just have to do it.
Right. All right. Well, thank you, Oliver. We'll come back. We'll do the rest of the show after this break, and we'll end with action items. iGuide, come on. We've been talking about iGuide on this show quite a bit because, we've got these giveaways going. So go to goiguide.com/PMRE to get in there to win one of those 3 big trips. But also, while you're there, click onto the regular iGuide site. You can see what they're all about and how they are bringing speed and accuracy to floor plans and virtual tours. I mean, really, iGuide is such a great product. And of course, they are agnostic. They can be put anywhere. So they can be put on homes.com. They can be put on Zillow. They can be put on the MLS. All those places that your clients actually want these tours to show up, they will show up. That is one thing for sure. So thank you to that. Thank you for that, iGuide. And also when they're there, they can check out those site plans. The site plans are phenomenal. It really is the first time there's an easy solution for buyers and agents to be able to see what the whole property looks like. Really, really fantastic. So go to goiguide.com and go to goiguide.com/PMRE to enter that contest. You will not be sorry you make the switch to iGuide. We have, and we're loving it. HD Photo Hub. I know a lot of people actually have been reaching out to us that they've been switching over to HD Photo Hub and they are loving it. They're loving, I talk about it all the time, but those marketing kits, man, I was just talking to someone and they were saying how they were contemplating going to HD Photo Hub and then they showed some of their clients the marketing kits and every client was like, yes, I want that and I will pay extra to have access to that. So HD Photo Hub is a way that not only can you make your business more efficient, but you can make more money from it. So you're increasing efficiency and at the same time generating revenue that you could not generate unless you were using HD Photo Hub. So what a fantastic deal. If you want to check that out, and I implore you to do that, it's hdphotohub.com and you can use the code Upmarket and you're going to get 15 free full deliveries. So, one of the things about HD Photo Hub is instead of a high monthly fee, you are paying per delivery. So you can work that into your prices. You know exactly how much you are going to pay for each delivery. And that is actually a really useful tool as you are growing your business. So you're going to get 15 free full deliveries if you check out HD Photo Hub and use the code Upmarket. All right. So Oliver Ward is speaking at PMRE 2026, which is once again, PMREconference.com. It's November 18th through 20th at the Palms in Las Vegas. Get in there. Early bird tickets go on sale May 19th. Get in there. Get those early birds. Let Brandon Cooper rest a little easy that he knows he's going to sell this thing out once again. I think he will.
I think
it's the best, man.
He has the Midas touch, if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, so this last year was your first PMRE, right? Yeah. So what was your experience like?
Life-changing. It was absolutely life-changing for my business. I have been operating as a real estate media provider, like a lot of people, on an island for a long time. I didn't know there was a big community. Someone told me, you got to go to PMRE, you belong in that group. And I showed up. I didn't really know what to expect, and it blew me away. There was so many little details that I picked up, not even on the big speaker stage, but just meeting people on all the sidebars. And it completely changed how I view my business, how I view my profession, and it turbocharged my focus. It was absolutely invaluable. I feel from who I was before I went there to today is vastly different.
I mean, that's 7 months ago.
And I attribute it all to all the inspiration I got at PMRE, 100%.
Wow. What can you think of any specific things from it that really stood out to you, or in specific changes you've made in your business because of it?
Well, meeting you guys, first of all, like meeting, I'm like, oh, there's like honestly, to me, it feels like there's sort of an inner crew in this entire community. And I started to see some of the pillars. I'm like, wow, there's a really fun community on the inside. And I like that. I was like, I would love to be like part of that group. Like that changed, and that like made me, but it also made me very proud of the industry, because I'm like, oh, there's people taking this very seriously, and it's like a fun thing to be a part of.
Yeah.
So that mattered to me, because I definitely pursue fun. And then the business side of things, I was getting by. This sounds horrible, but I feel like I was just building a business off of like charm. Like I didn't really have a lot of business sense.
Dude, that was the first 7 years of my business, or 8, yeah, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and I realized,
and I'm not even that charming.
Well, that's why I say it sounds horrible. But I'm like, why am I? Why have I been successful?
Yeah.
When I heard what other people were doing, I'm like, I don't even. And it's not about deserving, but I'm like, I'm surprised I'm doing as well as I am.
Yeah. Well, you're but you're a charismatic guy. I mean, I think the people who have kind of a charisma can build a business, I think, pretty easily, because people want to be around you, right? Or you can at least make them feel comfortable. And then if you actually do good work and you show up on time and do all those customer service things, then you can grow a business. You don't have to have actually any much business sense.
I related it to, like, I didn't really treat the off season like an athlete. And there's some athletes that are naturally talented,
right,
and they just booze through the off season, and then they get back in shape. PMRE taught me, like, oh, there's a lot you can do in the off season to make your business and your life way better. And so that was the big takeaway for me, is like, take it seriously. Like, don't just do it halfway, like take it seriously.
Right.
I felt that strongly there, and I had been.
Right. So in this last off season, what did you do?
All my back end systems, like actually what Matt Gia was saying with Auto HDR, I've been like dumping all my everything that's in my brain down and organizing it all. Getting really tight with the CRMs, like tracking everything. It's part of what I'll give in the takeaway, but really diving into the analytics of all the stuff that like HD Photo Hub offers. There's so many, like I was only using like 5% of what they offer. So I just started digging in and actually finding out what my business was. I didn't know what my business was. I didn't know where my money came from. I didn't know who my top producer was. I didn't know any of these things. I was honestly a lazy asshole, just like enjoying a decent business.
A surf bum,
Yeah. And so I got really serious about all that stuff.
Well, so this is just recently you've gotten serious about it, but for the couple years before that, you were coaching other real estate photographers.
Mm-hmm.
How'd that work, Mr.
I was
Mr.
coaching,
Lazy?
Yeah.
So you're like, and was it basically like, do as I say, not as I do?
No, I mean, I was teaching them what I knew. I came from a filmmaking background, so I was teaching them. I started with technique, and we would go through the technique, because I was focusing on the nothing to $10,000, the startup business. I knew how to build a nice website, but and also I was teaching them how I market. And really, like, my biggest advice was like, don't get bogged down on social media. It's not gonna
don't vlog.
Don't vlog. Go meet people. Go and so I just was teaching them what I did, which is how I got to my first $10,000 months, and then eventually $30,000 months. And it was not based on any like sophisticated business items. So that's what I was teaching.
Right.
That's what I taught people, and then I realized, like, oh, the glass ceiling. Todd from Spiro talked about that. The glass window that I was banging up against that I didn't even know was the fact that I really didn't have like sophisticated systems, and I didn't know where my bottlenecks were. And so I helped people get to where I was. I put the ladder down and I brought them up to my island. And then the one up above it, I was like, well, I don't have that offer. I don't know what that is. And so that's actually why I pulled away from coaching, because I'm like, I need to take my businesses to the further level if I want to be able to help people up to that up again.
Right.
So,
you can only take someone so far.
yeah, I can only take them as far as I've gone.
Yeah. So you pulled away from coaching, but yeah, so you just focus all in. So right now, I guess we're recording this when it's early May. It feels like winter here in Canada, but it is early May.
Yeah.
And this is the start. I think you just came back from Costa Rica, so this is the start. You live in Canada for the summer, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I just got back. We flew in the day before the summit, dropped my kids and my wife off. I came down here, And I'm gonna go like May. Really, things really kick off here. That's always when historically I know now is my biggest season,
Right.
and that'll
Right.
run through till like end of September, October, and then I'll start looking back into Costa Rica, which is really nice because Costa Rica fits exactly on the opposite busy season from here. Um, yeah, so that's where we're at right now. So I just got back in. I'm readjusting. It's re-entry is interesting when you
Yeah.
come from much slower. Like in Costa Rica, I came there with like my North American like fast,
Right.
bing bang boom,
Right.
check it out, and I was delivering media the next day, and they were almost upset. You know, like their reaction was like, "This is too early. Like we need time. Just go relax." And so I started embodying that, and now I have to get back
Right. Right.
into this North American style service.
Right.
It is so fast here. That's what you feel when you leave it and you come back. You're like, things happen fast.
Yeah, they do. Well, and I think it's speeding up. And I think, as like kind of one thing that I think got talked about in Cancun a little bit that I don't think we've touched on in the show too much is like really where we feel like the industry is headed in terms of like, what is going to be industry standard. And I think we're looking at within the next year or 2 years, like next day delivery, not next day, same day delivery of photos is going to be standard. And right now, because of our AI editing tools, shout out Fatello, we can we can get in there and we can deliver same day. Our workflows still aren't quite set up for that, but now we charge $100 for same day delivery. So it's a way that we've been able to add revenue. But I think because more people are going to start adding that because of all the AI editing, that naturally the price of that is going to come down. It's like we used to charge $100 for floor plans and now they're free. We just throw them in. We just raised our shoot prices and threw in a floor plan. And so I think that's going to go the same way within the next couple of years. So squeeze out as many same-day delivery fees as you can, as I think we're going to get to same-day delivery as a standard. I mean, how do you feel about that?
You know what? I try not to think about it because if I think about it too hard and you just kind of like look at the graph lines, it doesn't feel like it's trending in a good way for business. I spoke about this yesterday. I think with the tools we can buy, the software that we can all the subscription software, the services that are being provided, there's such a homogeny in the market
for sure
that we're basically all the same thing now.
Yeah.
There's very little that separates us. And then when that happens, how do people separate themselves? They just start going cheaper and faster and cheaper and faster. Like,
yeah, I think the faster, and I think there's some cheaper pressure too, but I'll push back on that a little bit, and this is what we kind of talk about. It's the differentiator is your customer service.
Yeah,
is always what it is, and being having authentic human interactions with it too. I think the more AI is out there, and I think any business can use some of these AI workflows that we've all learned about to help their customer service, to help all the aspects of their business, but ultimately, I do think the human touch. So as long as you can continue to have a human touch, I think we all crave that. And I think the more AI there is, the more we're all going to crave the human touch. So to have your, and obviously it's not going to be you out there shooting most stuff, but to have your photographers be personable, to make sure that everyone always shows up on time, to when you promise to deliver something, you actually deliver it. And if anything goes wrong, you fix it. So I think those are going to be the ways to make your business still stand out, because the people who are going super cheap and super fast, they're not going to do that because they can't. Yeah. They wouldn't have the ability to do it.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I don't think about it too much, because when I think long term, I don't see how it's going to be positive. But when I stay short term, what I know is that it is positive. Like my business is very healthy. The agents keep on coming back to me. I know I have competitors that offer the same thing, but it's the customer service, it's the vibe, it's the fun that like keeps it together. And so then I'm like, well, that's what's worked for the last 10 years. Why would it not continue to work? So if I stay in the moment, I feel very positive. If you turn on the news,
of course, it
doesn't feel good.
No, nothing
so I
feels
just go
good.
la 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 la, and I hop on my surfboard and I'm out of here.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's something to be said for that, because I don't think worrying about it changes anything.
No, I don't. Yeah. I don't think so at all.
Yeah.
And more vulnerability. I feel that's one thing I noticed coming back too, is there's a lot of gloom and doom talk, and people are very wrapped up in the 24-hour whatever cycle.
Yeah.
And if you pluck yourself out of that for a little while, and then you let your body relax, your nervous system relax. Like people here are jacked up on cortisol because it's so goddamn stressful.
Yeah.
And it could be from anything, from business, from competition, from the news, from the weather, from what's in your food. Like it's all so intense. And so I honestly, I do a little bit of, what's the animal that covers its eyes or puts its head in the sand? That's
Ostrich?
me.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
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 I'm a big ostrich.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think if that's like, it sounds
Is it
kind
healthy?
of,
I don't know.
I honestly don't know. The
My
way you say
father-in-law
it,
says it's irresponsible.
yeah, that's a father-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so is he on your ass about your lifestyle?
He's very supportive.
Okay,
He's very supportive,
Uh,
but he thinks that I should be more aware of the news and what's going on, which
I mean, but again, I've, after the events of the last, especially a couple of years, I've definitely, I got to a point after the last U.S. election, presidential election, where I was like, okay, I was stressing about this, and I was like all, tense about this for months and months and months and months leading up to it, and watching every news thing, what did that do? Nothing. It literally didn't change anything, and it just made me tense the entire time. But at the same time, I do feel like I'm a concerned citizen. I want to know what's going on. I want to make sure that my rights are protected, that my daughter's rights are protected, that the people the most vulnerable people in our society have protections, and all these things that are personally very important to me. And it feels like, well, if I don't learn about this stuff, how am I an ally to that? But then I'm like, well, what do I actually do to solve that? Is learning about it actually doing anything?
Yeah, I've thought deeply about that, and my conclusion was that a happy household and a happy community is the biggest contribution that I can make, and so that's what I focus my attention on. My friend locally he's the MP of Muskoka, our member of Parliament.
Okay,
great guy. I helped him with his campaign a few years ago. I guess I would be classified in the past as a liberal in Canada.
Sure.
He was running as a conservative candidate.
Oh.
I loved him. I think he's his name's Scott Aitchison. He's still a member of Parliament. He's just a really good guy. And at that point I realized, I'm like, I just want good people in leadership positions. I don't care about party lines. So I helped him with his campaign. I don't think it was me that got him elected, but I helped him with his videography and stuff like that. And I remember, I don't know how we got into this, but I remember there was like pushback from my friends, like, why are you helping the other party?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, it's a good person who's going to help the community,
Right.
and it shouldn't be about party lines. It should be about good leadership.
Well, no, and I want to believe that, but then I'm like, well, that other party, they vote the same way every time, even if it's a good person. So it's a.
So doesn't it feel impossible?
Yeah, it does.
Stick your head in the sand.
I get it. I get it, and I think that goes to, I think, what I decided is how could I make the world a better place, and I kind of came to the same conclusion of like, if I can be happier, if my community, just my local community, can be better, if I can make that better, if I can put better things into the world, and then like this podcast, I think hopefully it helps people. And then I have another podcast which is all about kind of going against fighting back against like toxic masculinity, talking about how as men we can actually exude positive masculinity for the world. And I think if we didn't have all these toxic males, just the world would be so much better. So how do we, when you see that rising tide of just like the worst shit imaginable coming up, I'm like, okay, maybe I can just talk about the other stuff. I don't know if anyone's going to listen, but it's what I can do because I'm not going to run for office.
Well, I want to congratulate you on this podcast, because this is what I know. Like allowing people to be seen and heard and genuinely engaging with them is like that's your gift, and you are sharing with that. You're not keeping it to yourself. Very helpful for everyone in the community. So thanks for doing that.
Oh, all right, jeez.
I think it's nice to say. It's important what you do.
It's
a really important thing in this community that you're doing that. And if you didn't do it, who was going to pick up the slack? And also, you have a nice touch. So it's an important gift that you're giving us.
Right, well, I appreciate it. Well, it took a lot of action to make this show, so that means it's time for our action items.
Let's do it.
I'll let you go last. I feel like you're in like philosophical mode, so
I really am.
I want to end on the philosophical note. So mine's practical. It was sparked by something you said about being a lazy ass during the off season. So my challenge is, as we are heading right now into most everyone's busy season, unless you are in Costa Rica. I want you to already think about what you want to do next slow season. To already be planning, because you're not going to have time to put in all these all these big changes right now, most likely, but because you're so busy. but start thinking about what are your goals for next off season? Because I think if you can come in over the next 6 months and refine that list, then hopefully you're going to have an achievable set of things to take care of in those months where you're not as busy.
Yeah, I think that's wise. My action item, and it's actually not philosophical.
Okay.
But it is about not being a lazy.
You can end on a philosophical note, though.
I'll say something about it. But so what I did after PMRE is I went into HC Photo Hub and I went into the client report.
Finally, shout out one of our sponsors. Thank you.
Yeah. And I was like, whoa, every single job I've done is inside of here. You know, which is, I know most people know that, but I was like, wow, that's really cool. I exported it. I put it in ChatGPT. And I said, my goal is to, actually I took that report and a couple other financial reports I got from my coaching and stuff, my account. I put it all in there. And I said, I want to double my revenue next year. I want to not spend as much time grinding, and I want to spend more time with my family. What would you recommend I do based on seeing all these numbers? And then it started asking me questions, and all of a sudden it spit out this really beautiful advice. And part of it was like, you should probably take a step back from coaching because the one-on-one thing is taking a lot of your time.
Right.
You're having massive growth with your real estate media business. You can scale that way further than you are. By the way, you have a couple issues. You have one client that is paying, that's 30% of your business, and you don't know it, but you have a whale, and a whale can crush you if they leave you. And I was like, I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. And so I said it, and then, so that to me was incredible. So anyone who's running a charisma-based lazy asshole business, get all your financials, put it into whatever your favorite AI is, tell it what your goals are, including your lifestyle goal, because I'm really big on that. Live your life now, your lifestyle and your financial goal, and then get it to interview you and tell you how to increase your business for the next year, how to get more what you want.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, buddy. That was good. I love it. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy. In the last, I've known you 7 months, and I've now hung out with you in 3 different countries. Yeah. So it's like, it's kind of crazy how that goes. Spies. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you. And of course, thank you to Alex Coombs and Northern Spruce Media for hosting this episode of the show. Shout out Brandon Cooper as well for being our partner and letting us do these PMRE episodes. It means so much. It's our favorite event of the year, and and thank you, of course, mostly to our sponsors, and then also all of our listeners, all of our viewers. You are the reason we do this. You make this special. You make our lives special. So thank you so much.
Upmarket is a production of Upmarket Studios and is produced by Molly Peart and edited by Bethany Dietrich. Our wish for you this week is to not have to do any Friday Night Twilight shoots. Thank you for everything.